hard work and determination of our area athletes. This is The Score on WQAD News 8.
Good evening and welcome to The Score Sunday. It was another eventful week in local sports, and we'll take a look at some of those big stories. Coming up tonight, we will talk with Mike Magistrelli. After 15 years as the head coach at St. Ambrose, he is stepping away to pursue other opportunities. We talked to Mike about his career, and then Iowa football is moving forward after their loss in the Big Ten title game. We will hear from the Hawks. Our FCA Story of the Week features a girls basketball coach that is ready to make a difference in his first year as a head coach. And we will announce our score standouts for this week. After 25 years of coaching football, 15 of them as a head coach, Mike Magistrelli has decided to take his career in a different direction as he announced his retirement from St. Ambrose. We're now joined by longtime football coach and I guess newly retired St. Ambrose football coach, Mike Magistrelli. Mike, thanks for joining us on a Sunday. And I guess you recently retired from St. Ambrose as the head coach of football. Was this something, I guess, that you saw coming? Was it out of the blue? Kind of take me through the process of how this all came about, because for us, it seemed like it was an all of a sudden type thing for us anyway.
Sure, and obviously it's it's a pretty big decision, and it's something that took some time. I kind of reached the decision some point mid to late part of the season, and then just wanted to take some time and make sure that I was making the right decision. So I took a little bit of time when the season ended. Want to make sure it wasn't just an emotional decision and those type of things after a long season. So it just took a little bit of time just to make sure that again it was the right thing, and am confident that it was.
Now that it's said and done, what's the feeling? Is it relief? Is it like, oh my gosh, I just did that? Or what goes through your mind when you kind of think about, wow, I just retired from coaching?
Yeah, probably a little bit of all that. There's certainly panic of well, hey, now what? You've been coaching for a long time. Basically, it's been a college football coach for the last 25 years, and you start to wonder, hey, what else am I qualified to do, and those type of things. But at the same time, you look back on the experience, and boy, what's some tremendous memories and relationships that were built over that time, and those type of things. Certainly things I will miss immensely, but obviously, also excited for some of the opportunities that lay ahead as well.
Was there one underlying factor, or was it just an opportunity that you just couldn't pass up at this point?
It was just the best way I could explain it. It just seemed like it was time. It was the right time. There's a number of things that kind of go into that. I father of four kids, and obviously, as a college coach, you spend a lot of time, whether it be at practices, meetings, films, all those type of things with your football team, and don't get a chance to kind of experience the family life and the kids quite as much. So obviously an opportunity to do that, it plays a big factor into it. But there's a number of things, and it felt like the right time to step aside.
Mm-hmm. After 25 years, do you kind of get lost in the day-to-day of the football and what you're doing, as far as it's a season, then it's an off season, then it's the preseason, then it's another season? It just kind of seemed like it kind of rolled together. Did 25 years go fast?
Yeah, it really did. It really did. One of the things I really liked about coaching was that you were not doing the same thing for 12 months in a row. Like you mentioned, you had your fall season. Typically in the fall, obviously COVID was a little different, but typically a fall season. Then you hit recruiting, hot and heavy there, usually to about signing day there in early February. And then you start kind of turning the page towards getting ready for spring practice and what that will look like there in spring ball. And then obviously summer workouts, and then you get ready for the fall again. And so I did really enjoy the different aspects of the year being broken up that way. Like you mentioned, by doing it that way, you're constantly involved in some aspect of a year-round program, to where one season just kind of leads into the next, which leads into the next, and those type of things. So it really has gone fast. Finished my 15th year as the head football coach at St. Ambrose, and to be honest, it seems like a handful of years ago that I took over from Coach Sturdy and those type of things. And so the time certainly does go by fast.
Well, you said you did it for 25 years, but you spent a bulk and a majority of those years at St. Ambrose. You were a grad assistant, you had told me. You were a coordinator under Coach Sturdy, and then you took over for Coach Sturdy. What was it about Ambrose that you just loved so much that you stayed there for so long?
It just felt like home. I always tell people, whether it's recruits in the recruiting process or just friends that ask me about my experience at St. Ambrose. St. Ambrose has great facilities, and whether it be athletic facilities now, dorms, beautiful buildings, all those type of things. But the thing that really made St. Ambrose special to me were the people that were there. People that use the term Ambrosian for the Ambrose community, and people that understood the value of being there, and the kind of the bigger picture, those type of things. St. Ambrose and its campus is filled with wonderful people, great people to work with, extremely supportive, and really that was part of just, again, it feeling like home, and feeling like someplace you not only wanted to be but wanted to stay.
I'm going to run over some numbers here for you. Obviously, 15 years at Ambrose as head coach. I believe that's the longest tenured football coach. You had 90 career wins. You won the league 3 times. You made the playoffs 4 times. 11 of those 15 seasons you coached, you were over 500. You had 63 first team guys that made first team of the conference. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. What do those numbers mean to you, and do any of them stick out as significant to you?
Not a big numbers guy. Obviously, some of those numbers are a result of being there as long as I was. But obviously, to me, the thing that I'm probably most proud of is just the young men that we had in our program, in terms of obviously some of the wins and results on the football field, but some of the things off the field as well. And that starts with, some of those relationships you develop with guys, especially the senior classes each year and those type of things. And then kind of following their career as they move on, into the real world, so to speak, and see them go on and do some tremendous things. You follow these guys as they start to get married and have kids and all those type of things, to where that's really probably the most rewarding or thing that kind of sticks with me throughout my time.
And that seems to be something every coach who is coached at any level remembers the most. They may remember a game here or there, or a play here and there, but it's those relationships. As you've done this for as long as you have, did a lot of those guys reach out to you this past week, and what did that mean to you?
Well, I tell you what, I did my press conference on a Monday, and made the announcement, and obviously my thoughts were on that, and kind of getting through that hurdle. I guess the part I wasn't mentally as prepared for were just the way my phone and email blew up with texts and emails and congrats and this and that, hearing from different people I haven't talked to in a little while, and some of those type of things. So it was really a neat experience to hear from as many people, and people saying just thanks for the impact you made on them and those type of things. And it's certainly like I said, it was something I guess I wasn't quite mentally prepared for, but was really touched and overwhelmed with all the responses.
All right, the next one may be a little bit tough for you, just because you don't want to single people out, you don't want to single years out. But was there a team, a game, a moment that you're just like, man, I remember that, and I'm just going to remember that one forever?
It's really hard to pin it down to a few or one, I guess. You go back over the years, and some of the conference championship teams are certainly, really special. The first football team, the first year's team, the first graduating class, some of those type of things. Obviously, you go to more recently, and, the COVID team, the COVID year is you can coach for quite a while and think you're prepared for about anything. And then, something like that gets thrown your way. And so that was a really special group, just in all the obstacles you had to attack, everything from practicing in January and February, to some of the precautions that needed to be taken, and steps and all those type of things. So that was certainly a special group, because every player builds towards their senior year, and when your senior year is hey, no football in the fall, and we're going to play in the spring, and some of those type of things. It's certainly unique. And then, I go back to one this past fall, in which we'd come off a tough overtime loss the week before, and traveled up to Olivet Nazarene to play a really good Olivet Nazarene team, a team that had won the conference the year before, and came away with a hard-fought victory. And I one of the things that always stick with me was, as the final seconds were winding down, I turned to take my headset and set it on the bench and those type of things before shaking hands. And as I set the headset down, I turned around, and there was Bernard Buhaki standing there with his arms spread wide, and we hugged, and it was a special moment because that win meant so much to each of us. He's a captain for us. He's a guy that's been in our program for 5 years due to COVID, and after coming off a tough loss the week before, to rally the troops and go back and get a big win like that was certainly something special, and something I'll always remember.
All right, so now post-coaching, what are you looking forward to the most now that you're not going to be on the sidelines?
Being a football fan, the thing I've caught myself as I watch college football right now, I'm always watching and schemes and the way plays are happening. Oh, that's a good way to do it. And then I'm thinking, like, why am I even paying attention anymore? I just get to watch football and enjoy, the outcomes and those type of things. And so that's something I'm certainly experiencing for a first time. As a football coach, you don't get a chance to go see many college football games, and that's something I'll look forward to doing, and taking my son and things like that, and experience some of those type of things, as well as again, just some more family time.
How much more meaningful do you think that's going to be now? I mean, obviously you do it as much as you can when you're not coaching, but now that you're not going to be coaching, how much more do you think you're going to cherish those moments?
Probably quite a bit. It's like I said, as a football coach, you're just around it nonstop, and you kind of take some of it for granted. And when I made the announcement, made the decision, I heard from a number of coaching friends who kind of reiterated that and said, boy, things are going to be, there's certain things you're really going to enjoy, as far as, time away, time with family. Some of them pointed out, hey, you're going to be able to go to a college football game and tailgate and do those things that, again, you just don't get an opportunity to ever do as a college football coach.
Well, Mike, I want to first personally thank you for all you did for us over the years. You're always great to work with, great on the sidelines, always had great conversations with you. I want to wish you the best, wish your family the best. I know there's bright things ahead for you in the future, and also just want to wish you and your family a happy holidays.
Corey, I appreciate it, and same back to you guys. Always enjoyed it.
Time for our first break. Up next, Hawkeye football. The Big Ten championship game may not have gone the way for the Hawkeyes, but they are about to change things around and figure out what they did wrong as they get ready for their bowl game. We hear from the Hawks coming up next.
The Score continues on WQAD News 8.
The Big Ten championship game is one that many Hawkeye fans would like to quickly forget. And while they do that, Iowa will turn their attention to the Citrus Bowl in Orlando and their next opponent, Kentucky. This will be the 18th time under Kirk Ferentz that Iowa will be in a bowl game. Iowa last played in that bowl game when it was called the Capital One Bowl back in 2005, when Drew Tate hit Warren Holloway for a game-winning touchdown. As for how the Hawkeyes start to prepare for Kentucky, Matt Randazzo has more from Indianapolis.
Yeah, Corey, all eyes on Lucas Oil Stadium here in Indianapolis on Saturday night as Iowa went looking for that Big Ten championship, but it was the Michigan Wolverines with other ideas. Iowa falling to Michigan 42-3, and when you look at that final score, it looks like a blowout. But Iowa will focus on missed opportunities. The Hawkeyes had the ball inside the Michigan 10-yard line 3 times and came away with 3 points. Something that's happened too many times for Iowa this season.
I'm not sure the score is totally representative of the two teams, but, it's just the way it went tonight. And I think, I'll go back to the early part of the game. For us to win this thing tonight, we were going to have to, not give up big plays, make them work it, drive it. And they did that a couple times in the first 3 quarters. But you give up a big player or 2 big plays, it's really tough to do that against a good opponent. And then again, we got the ball down in there a couple of times and just didn't. You want to come out with a touchdown at least, but if not, they had the field goal, but we just couldn't connect there, and that's kind of represented the game, I guess.
The red zone's hard as it is because the field is so shrunk with so many people in a condensed area. You know, a lot of your play calls you can put those out the window. It's a much different playbook than you know, the rest of the field. But I don't know. It just seems like the last couple of weeks we couldn't really get much going in the red zone, which hurts. You know, that 4-point swing between field goals and touchdowns. We weren't good enough today in the red zone to, you know, we needed to put points up, and we didn't do that.
Yeah, obviously this one's going to stink for a little bit, just because, you know, like I said before, we've been putting so much effort into it, so much work over the course of 11 months. So this one will stink for a little bit, but you know, I'm confident we'll get back on our feet, get back to work, and get ready for the bowl game.
So the Hawkeyes with still one game to play this year as they are set to go bowling, and now the attention shifts to the quarterback position. Of course, Spencer Petras played all of the first half, with Alex Padilla playing in the second. Who will start for the Hawkeyes in the bowl game? That's something we will find out over the upcoming weeks. Corey, we'll throw it back to you.
Thanks, Matt. Now shifting to basketball, Iowa and Illinois have had a long history and sometimes heated rivalry on the court. Well, the next chapter of that book will get written on Monday. Both teams are off to great starts this season. Iowa just lost for their first game of the year, falling on the road to number 2 Purdue, while Illinois is off to a 6-2 start and have won 4 straight. But of course, none of that will matter when the two teams hit the court in Iowa City for an early Big Ten matchup.
You know, we were able to do some positive things in terms of winning on the road last year, and this year's a new team, a new challenge, and Iowa City's been one of those places that we haven't conquered yet. This team's maybe not as big and as inside oriented, but they are electric in transition. They're pressing, and a team that is maybe as potent offensively as they were last year. They're just doing it in some different ways.
Illinois and Iowa tip off at 6 in Iowa City. On Monday, we'll have complete coverage of that game. It's halftime. Up next, Enriching Young Lives, the journey for a girls basketball coach as he begins his first year as a head coach. It's next in our FCA Story of the Week on The Score Sunday. The long and winding road leads to the desired destination for Moline girls basketball coach Adrian Ritchie. As FCA's Dan Pierce reports, the first-year head coach certainly knows his way around the block at Moline High.
Yeah, Dan, I'm an old man, so I'm 53. I know this is my first year as a head coach.
Adrian Ritchie is clearly just getting started after 17 years assisting the Moline boys and girls basketball programs. He's seen firsthand how enduring coaching impact can be.
A lot of years of coaching, and you can ask my wife, anywhere we go, it could be across the nation. There's kids say, hey, Mr. Ritchie, and hey, and it's this or that.
As Ritchie digs into his first year as a head varsity basketball coach, he's eager to dig in and invest in his players. But he can't help but look back at the many Moline coaches who have invested in him.
Previously, I was with Steve Ford in his system for 12 years, and the last 5 years being with Sean Taylor, and just beneficial knowledge from both coaches, great coaches. Steve Ford is now one of my coaching competitors, still a dear friend of mine, and Sean Taylor, being with Sean Taylor was invaluable for me especially, and for anybody, any coach that's in Sean Taylor's gym is going to benefit greatly. And 5 years of being in Sean Taylor's gym, I mean, I think I've grown as a coach, and I'm ready to do this.
Maybe there's added value to being 53 and well-traveled within the Moline program. Ritchie certainly has the players believing in his system, in him.
Coach Ritchie not only brings so many amazing things to the basketball program, but the whole community. I mean, he's involved in so much, and so many students have a good relationship with him. So it's nice to have a coach that you trust and you look up to, and you just really understand where he's coming from, and knowing that he's doing everything to make us better and make us better people.
He definitely does work a lot on trying to get us to bond together as a team, just because since we are a smaller team, the more we work together with our chemistry and our bonding, it helps us on the floor.
Character and conduct are key elements for Ritchie as he leads the entire team.
If you're the number 14 player on the team, you bring tremendous value.
Adrian Ritchie, a product of great coaching ready to produce great players and great people. With the FCA Story of the Week, I'm Dan Pearson.
Thanks, Dan. Time for our last break. We'll announce this week's Score Standout nominees when we come back. To the surprise of no one in the volleyball community, former Sterling standout Lexi Rodriguez has excelled on the college courts. Lexi was recently named to the first team All-Big Ten, All-Freshman team, and the Defensive Player of the Year this past week. She leads the team in digs with 442, has 111 assists, and added 20 aces. Her transition from high school to college was made easier when she enrolled in Nebraska back in January.
Hard being a freshman and just getting put into that role where you have to take ownership and you have to be a leader on this team, like, because I'm in pretty much all 6 rotations. I think in the beginning it was a little hard for me, but they've made me feel so comfortable and so like deserving of my position that it's been a lot easier as the weeks have gone on. It means a lot. I mean, I do everything I can to get the ball up and give my team the opportunity to score points. I always knew that I could do this, and so I wouldn't say it's surprising, but I'm definitely very proud of myself and how I've been able to perform.
Lexi, Nebraska opened the NCAA tournament this past Friday against Campbell, and they did so with a 3-0 sweep. Another great week of performances leaves us with some tough choices for this week's Score Standout nominees. Here are the 4 Midwest Technical Institute Score Standouts. We start with Cole Brower from Moline, recently picking up his 100th win, and he opened the Big 6 season with a Tech Fall win. And Addie Kirkhoff from Pleasant Valley. She scores 18, 7 rebounds, 2 steals, and the Lady Spartans win. Here are the rest of this week's MTI Score Standouts. Amaria Nimmers from Rock Island, 25 points, 7 rebounds, 3 steals. Anaya Smith from Central, 20 points, 2 steals, and 3 boards. You can vote for this week's Score Standouts on Twitter at @thescorewqad or go to the sports page, WQAD.com, and follow the link. Polls are open until Thursday at noon. That is our show for tonight. We'd like to thank you for watching, and we hope to see you back here next week for the Score Sunday.